Hi, it's Patrick, and welcome to Project Concrete Jungle. We are a search for local entrepreneurs to hear their origin story of how they started from zero to hero. And if you like what you see and what the project is doing to assist you in your life's work, I suggest you support us by telling more of your friends about the show and getting the show reposted on as many platforms as much as possible. Now, today we'll be meeting up with Jeremy Chin. He is the author and self-publisher for the book Fuel, and we'll be talking to him about how he came up with the idea of the book and how he came up with the challenge of self-publishing the book. Today is episode number 11, and we are on Project Concrete Jungle. Okay, Jeremy. Finally, I've managed to get you on Concrete Jungle. Thank you very much for spending your time. Well, I've always wanted to get you on the show because after the last meeting I had with Adrian of Freeform, and he was carrying a book at his restaurant, right? And he was telling me that this book is written by a Malaysian, and there were many things that he said about the book that got me really excited. And the other fact is that he also told me that you're a Somalian, so we are actually schoolmates, but I really can't recognize you, man.
Seriously, we are schoolmates. I have no idea.
I have no idea too. So were you in the science stream?
Well, when I was in from Form 1 to Form 3, I was in the industrial arts. It was only later in Form 4 that I switched over to the science stream.
You were in the art stream. I was in the art stream. I was in Form 1 to Form 3. I was in the art stream.
You were in the art stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, no idea. What's your Chinese name?
I was always been. I mean, my name Patrick has always been my IC, so everyone knows me by Patrick.
All right. Yeah. Seriously, I cannot remember you at all. But yeah, we were in the same year as well, right?
Same year with Adrian.
Wow.
So anyway.
Wow, it was amazing.
Yeah, so the thing that really struck me is that the idea and the concept of someone publishing his own book, that is like the ultimate, So before we begin to talk about your book, let's talk a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background of yourself. What have you been doing ever since school?
Well, if we go back that far, when I was in school, I wasn't necessarily the sharpest kid on the block. In fact, I actually flunked out of high school because I failed my Bahasa Malaysia paper. And I guess when you fail that, it counts as you being, having failed everything. But when I went to college after that, I didn't do too badly, and I even managed to secure a place at a pretty good journalism school, that being the University of Missouri, Columbia. After that, I came away with a Bachelor of Journalism, and after that, I drove out to California, and San Diego to be more specific. So at the time I was, I kind of held 3 part-time jobs. One was as a telemarketer, selling, I think, tax software for Quicken.
Oh.
And the other thing I used to do was I used to tutor old people on how to use the computer. It didn't pay too well. Sometimes they would pay me with by giving me baked goods or bagels. And the other job I did was as a graphic designer. It was a part-time job at a very small ad agency. This was in San Diego as well. So it was only about a year later, to kind of make ends meet, I had to move to Los Angeles as a web designer. And let me see. So for the next few years, at that time it was the time of the .com boom. So I designed a whole lot of websites for some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And after that, the .com bubble sort of burst. And I needed to sort of morph myself into a programmer. So I started being quite proficient at programming code and things like that. And so all in all, I was in the United States for a total of 10 years. And after that, I moved to London, where I worked as a programmer and a Flash animator. 2 years later, I returned to Malaysia and assumed the role as a creative director at Amphibia Digital. Amphibia is basically an online ad agency. And I was very happy there actually. But a couple of years into the job, I decided to go on sabbatical to write to you. Which I guess is an endeavor that has brought me to where I am today, which is in front of a computer talking to you. Yeah.
Okay, so do you learn coding by yourself, or do you go to school, or what do you do?
Yeah, I took night classes at local college. A couple of local colleges actually. In the US it's quite cheap and quite easy to do that. So I kind of picked and chose my classes, and studied things that I felt would help to strengthen my career.
Okay, I mean, do you still code today?
I still do some minor coding, and I quite enjoy it as well, because to me, coding actually brought me quite a lot of fulfillment. I mean, there really isn't anything quite like when you actually solve a problem in the programming world, and you're like, wow, eureka! It's so the elation is quite high.
So it's the next best thing to feeling like God.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard luck as well. You could be trying for hours and hours to try and get something to work, and you just tweak it here and tweak it there, and then suddenly, voila! It just works, and you're like, I don't know what I did, but
it just happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you decided to take a sabbatical. Was there a reason why you decided to do that?
Well, there was actually. I started reflecting on my life and saying, I didn't want to go down one day as just being the guy who designed a whole bunch of websites. If one day during my funeral someone asked who was Jeremy, and all they'd answer would be like, oh, he's foxkids.com, he's the cheesecakefactory.com, he's like the fatburningmachine.com. I didn't want to just be defined that way. So I knew that God had blessed me with a lot of gifts, and I knew that in my role at that time I wasn't making full use of it.
Okay, so let's talk about fuel.
Yeah.
In your own words, what is fuel?
Well, fuel as a book is basically the story of a runner who from the time he was a young boy has been training in secret to achieve this dream of his, which is to win his maiden race, the New York Marathon. He is meticulous in his preparation, almost to the point of being excessive. And he is very close to attaining this dream of his and shocking the whole world. It is, it's only at the end of his journey that this guy learns that he learns the most essential, the most raw, and the most important lesson that life holds for any of us. And actually, I'd love to tell you what that lesson is, but hey, I don't want to spoil the story for you. Yeah, you gotta go read the book.
Any chance of getting it on audio on audio format?
Well, for now, you would be the third person on the planet who has asked me for an audio version. So we'll see. I've got a friend over in San Diego who recorded a chapter for me, and maybe I could persuade him to do the rest. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, because actually we have come to a point. I mean, people still like to read, and with Kindles and stuff like that, you get a chance to carry a lot of books anywhere you want. But I think to a very large subset of individuals, right, people like me, who basically fall asleep in front of a book, or who just can't find the time to sit down in front of a book to read. We rely a lot on Audible. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. So what inspired Fuel? What gave you the idea of writing Fuel? I mean, let's face it. You've been to what I understand is that you have spent so much of time building up a career in creative designing. Designing websites and stuff like that. And just one fine day, you say, "Okay, screw this. This is just screw it." So for you to say something like that, do you already have a plan to write the book, or which comes first, screw you or the book?
Screw you came first. Yeah, it wasn't quite as drastic as that, but I just one day realized that what I was doing at the time could not be it. So what I did was I said, let me take some time off to think. And it was in that time off that I finally decided that, the way I wanted to move forward was to actually write a book. The book idea for Fuel actually came many years ago while I was still in London. I was actually sitting on a park bench, and for some reason, the story of the woman who lifted a car to release her son entered my mind. You've heard of that story, right?
No.
No. Well, what happened was there was a car that sort of fell on this kid, and the woman, who saw that happen. I mean, that was her son under the car. She rushed over to the car and just lifted it up so that he could get out. Just suddenly just drew from this strength from nowhere, to save his life. So it is from that story that I started to ask myself this. And the question I asked was that, in what other situations could pure willpower defy the laws of science? And I thought about long distance running, about whether a runner could continue to run after he or she had run out of fuel. If maybe people had locked up energy in them that science could not explain, sort of like trapped energy that cannot be measured in watts or joules. And so it was from that seed of thought that Fuel was born.
And was it difficult? I mean, could you share with me or with us what were the challenges of coming up with a book? I mean, the whole idea of conceiving it first, that is like one part of the journey. But I think the biggest part of the journey is having to sit down in front of a computer or notepad to draft it out and then to write it out. And then how do you manage to? You see, the thing that compels me is you're a nobody, and you manage to publish a book. Now that's a feat. You know, that's something else. So could you share with us what were the early challenges of bringing this book to life?
Well, the early challenges weren't quite challenges, because in the process of writing the book, I was so passionate about it that this passion of mine just took on a life of its own. And there wasn't a day that I felt tired or I felt like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I just woke up sharp at 8 every morning, and I continued to write till 2 in the morning. And the only reason why I would stop is to tell myself that, hey, if I continue doing what I was doing for a long period of time, I'd eventually end up falling sick, So for my first year of writing, I didn't really have too much challenges. I didn't even experience what a lot of writers call writer's block.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be times when I might be stuck for a word or something like that, but it wasn't something that went on for days and days to a point where I get really depressed about it. For me, the real uphill climb came after the book was published. And basically, like you said, I'm a nobody, and the biggest challenge is to get people to take a chance on you. Today's average Joe has very little time, on their hands. And in today's economy, people are barely scraping a living.
Yeah.
So the biggest sell is to say to someone, hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm a nobody. Can I have 30 ringgit and 2 days of your time to read my book? With time and money as such a scarce commodity, a person who buys a book wants to be certain of two things. One, that it better be worth your time, and two, it better freaking be worth your money. So that was the biggest challenge for me as an author.
So the term, the understanding of the word publishing, right? Particularly a book, it literally means that you actually go to someone, go to an organization, go to a book publisher and have them print it out for you and then market it for you and things like that. So the technicalities of it, how do you go through that? I mean, how, do you go up to a publisher and convince them and say, hey, you know what? Publish my book. Here's my manuscript and publish it. Please publish it. Or because if you're talking about any publisher, right, they're just going to see things as, or they're going to see every writer as business, and for them to choose the right book to publish, they have to be damn sure that you're gonna bring back the money, or otherwise it's gonna be all money burned, right? So do you go that route, or do you really just manuscript, walk over to a photocopier shop, print that?
No, I decided quite early on I was going to self-publish. And that's almost purely because of me being here in Malaysia. Even as I was writing the book, many people who had been in the industry for a long time told me, hey, don't even bother. Don't waste your time approaching any of the publishers and asking them, to publish your book for you. And that was purely because mine was a work of fiction. Here in Malaysia, the only books that kind of work would be like, how to be a millionaire or feng shui. Um, Even cooking books aren't too bad. But the minute it's fiction, they will just turn you down faster than you can say hello. So, yeah.
So, how do you finance the book?
Savings. But honestly, it's really not that expensive to publish a book. Um, I mean, you might think with trees being scarce and all that the cost of publishing one would be exorbitant, but it's not really. Especially with a book like mine, where it has no color, so inside it's just all text, and if you look at the cover, it's just one color, which is black. Even the gray is a variation of black, so they just count it as one color. So for me, I was able to keep the cost quite low, and I published. My first run was 1,500 books, and that was mainly for the Malaysian market. For the global market, what I did was I published it using Amazon's print-on-demand service, which later on, I expanded into a Kindle format as well. And from that, I took it over to Barnes and Noble's digital format for the Nook. So I released it in those formats, and with that, I was able to get global reach.
So you managed to sort out the technicalities a bit and got the book published. So the next biggest challenge is having to market it. So how do you manage to get it? I mean, 150,000 books.
No, not 150,000 books.
No, I mean, your first one.
1,005.
Oh, your first one was 1,005, right? Even at 1,005, right? I bet that has crossed your mind many times. How the hell am I going to sell 1,005? Did it?
Dude, I was planning to sell millions of books, and right now, if you go to the ground floor of my house, there is just this giant mountain of books that makes me so depressed every day because it's not moving, it's not getting lower at all.
So will you be able to share how much of books have you managed to sell so far, or at least based to your estimate, you're hoping to sell millions of books. So right now, how far or where are you now?
Well, I've not really kept count too much, and this is an honest thing. I estimate it to be around 400 or 500 books.
That's not too bad. That's half.
Again, here in Malaysia, I think I started off by selling about 200 books around the time of its launch. And then what happened was there was a very good article that was written about me in the Star papers. So at that point, I didn't know what the impact of that article was. And I've not kept track of sales beyond that release. And globally, my book is actually picking up among the global community of runners because it's got a running element in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your website and the kind of inspiration that you have created in all these readers is phenomenal. So how do you manage to get your book international? Wait, hang on. You see, the thing about the thing that really got me even more interested is you are trained as a journalist. You learn coding, and you spend a big chunk of your life designing websites, right? And all of a sudden you decided to write a book. Okay, so that's skills from journalism. and you decided to publish, that's entrepreneurial, and you decided to sell it to every possible bookseller in Malaysia as well as in international. That is selling, and a lot of makers and a lot of journalists or writers just do not have the flair to sell, or they just fear the idea of selling. How do you go about doing that?
You see, that's the thing. I've spent half my life making other people really, really rich. I've spent, close to 12 to 15 years selling other people's products, and now I have my own product to pour all my skill and all my energy into. So, and the best thing is, I am my own client.
Yeah.
Which is both a good and bad thing. One is I don't have to worry about them saying, "Hey, make my logo bigger," or "Make this font bold," and all that. It's I'm not faced with that. But the bad thing is that I am probably the most pain in the ass client in the world, because I'm just so fussy about everything. So as a result, everything that I do has to be absolutely 100% perfect before I release it. So in that sense, sometimes I don't promote as in such a timely manner as I really should. Yeah.
So was it difficult to sell?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. But as I was writing this book, I told myself that it was just absolutely important for me to create a very, very good product. Because in today's world, advertising and marketing no longer has the same impact that it used to have. These days, if you want a product to work, you got to invest in the product, not so much in its packaging or in the messages that you send out there. So to me, the proof is in the pudding, and right now, what I try to do is just try to give it as the best chance to succeed, and try and get it into people's hands so that they could speak about it.
So coming back again, how do you sell? Do you knock on the doors, or hey, I've got this one book, would you buy it? Do you do that?
Well, I market it differently to different people.
Right.
Here within Malaysia, I tried to get the Ministry of Culture and Information to buy the book. So, like I had to write a very beautiful letter to Dato' Rais Yatin, begging him to make a purchase of my book, because when they buy a book, they buy it in bulk.
Right.
And they distribute it to all the libraries in Malaysia. So that was one way. The other is to try and get as much press on it as possible. Here in Malaysia, unfortunately, they are not very supportive of local writers.
Who is not?
I'd say the newspapers, and I don't really blame them sometimes, because every week they probably get anything from like 20 to 50 books.
Yeah.
And these are from world-renowned authors. And then all of a sudden you get some Jeremy Chin fellow, sending his book in, and they've got all this, and every time you decide to pick up a book, that's like a 1 or 2 or 3 day project. So I mean, they've got very limited time as well. And for me, I got lucky. It was a lot of hard work, to actually get them to write a review on my books. So the thing is just to never give up, to just be persistent about it. And so I mean that's what I've done locally. For the market abroad, what I found out was that the book started gaining some traction among some runners, who had chanced into it. So from that point on, I started engaging with these people. One way, I guess one way I did so was to actually launch a line of apparel and merchandise that was that's running SKU. So and again I use a free service. It's called Zazzle.com, and through that I was able to design T-shirts, running mugs, running mouse pads, etc., which I could then market to the running community. So when they got interested in this gave me, a platform to actually engage with them and promote my book. So it's a bit of a roundabout way, but at the end of the day, you just do what needs to be done.
So what gave you the idea of selling merchandising? Was it already in the plan to begin with while you're writing the book, or did this all of a sudden just pop out in your mind, after the book is written and you're just trying to get more books out and, oh hey, you know what, I think I can sell this too.
Well, the running community never was my primary target audience. Initially, I figured the readers of my book to be people in their young working years, hopeless romantics and the like. It was only after the book was released that I realized that it actually was a very interesting book to runners. So yeah, it was then that I thought up this line and decided to launch it.
So was it difficult for you to get the lineup, or it is just another extension of, hey, damn it, if I can get the book out, I can definitely get a couple of T-shirts out?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually quite a comprehensive line. I think I've got 7 or 8 designs. It's available in all T-shirt styles, all T-shirt colors, and if I were to look at the actual time investment in it, I'd say it probably took me about 2 weeks to get it all up.
2 weeks to get it all up? That's it?
Yep.
Wow. It took me like 3 years to learn how to build bags. Well, I'm a slow learner anyway. So how is that helping out? Is it giving you a little bit more traction with your books?
Well, slightly more. Again, it's all about user engagement. It's about working yourself into a position to actually be someone in that interest area. So yeah, this is just one of the side ventures that came up along the way.
Is it self-funded already right now? I mean, is it funding itself already, or? Actually,
it's free to do this. This is again a sort of like a print-on-demand sort of service. So when someone orders one T-shirt, they would actually custom make one T-shirt and ship it out to the person. Yes, the costs are ridiculous, and I barely make any money from the purchases. It's probably something like less than $1 USD or something like that.
Wow.
But the thing is it creates a talking point for me. and that was the purpose of this line. It wasn't for me to make money out of it.
That's a very interesting point. Okay. So what is the next thing going to be like? Would it be a Fuel the movie?
I hope so. I think of many books that are out there. This one will make one hell of a movie.
I'm sure.
It actually, when I thought up the idea a long time back, it actually started off as a movie idea, and it was only later on that I decided to make a book out of it.
Okay. Last two questions I would like to ask. One is, what would be your top 3 things you would like to share to would-be entrepreneurs or would-be book writers who may not be able to get the attention of a publisher, you know? What would be the top 3 things?
Top 3 things. Well, first off, let me state that people publish and write books for different reasons.
Sure.
Some people do it for vanity reasons, as in they might like seeing their name on the cover of a book.
Sure.
And whether the book sells is not important. Some people do it for, I don't know, historical or archival reasons, just so there is a record or something in ink to prove that they once existed on Earth. You know, and in my case, I embarked on this journey to sell millions of books worldwide. So my advice, you know, that I'll dispense will be for those who intend to do the same as I. So for me, number one, I think, is to think up a very unique story, something that would appeal to a wide audience. Because, I mean, if you came up with a book which is called, I don't know, Traveling for People Over 100 years old, you know, you'd only be limiting yourself to a very small audience. So find a unique story that you feel will appeal to a broad audience. And the second thing is, I'd say, just craft and recraft. You know, tell the story better than anyone on the planet can. And lastly, market the hell out of the book. You know, it's like sell it to people as if it were the best thing to come along since bacon was invented. Yeah, so I think those are my 3.
Okay, not even sliced bread, right? So it's literally bacon.
Bacon beats sliced bread any day.
Okay, last question I always ask is, you know, the question of zero or hero. What the question really means is that, you know, when in whatever entrepreneurial venture that we get into, we must always start from zero, and along the way we drudge through the tough times, and then there will be a point where we will start to realize that, yeah, we are here. You know, some say that they're always zero because they always want to stay hungry. Some say that we are hero now because we are a little content. We are happy where we are. No right, no wrong answer. Where do you think you are right now? Do you feel that you're zero, or do you feel that you're a hero? That you managed to publish a book? You know, so many other people has failed to do it, and so many people has been blocked and discouraged to do it. You have done it. Where do you think you are right now?
Well, first off, I should mention that one of the main reasons why I even started on this journey was because of my wife and son. My aim was to discover a career that could give me more time with them. And my pursuit of this better life with them has been my fuel, and that is what has kept me going for this long. So I don't know, when you ask me whether I'm a zero or hero, I can tell you this, you know, I'm definitely not a hero. I'm not, at least I don't see myself as one. I'm not like a Hollywood star who craves the limelight. I'm not a daredevil who craves the adrenaline rush of walking the unbeaten path. At the end of the day, I'm merely a dad who wants to spend more time with his kids. I get scared shit being in front of the camera like I am now in front of you. But I do it because it is what is needed for my book to succeed. And you have to understand that behind these eyes are actually the soft underbelly of a coward. Probably the bravest coward the world could ever see.
Definitely the bravest. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much, Jeremy. I really appreciate the time spent here, and lots of success with your book. Don't stop. Keep on going. Keep on trudging on, and hopefully, who knows? Maybe you come up with a second book. Fuel number 2.
Well, really, thanks for having me on. As a self-published nobody, I really could use whatever help I can get from man, woman, child, cat or dog. Just help me spread the word.
We'll do right that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Patrick.
Okay, that was a great show.